here at the National Eagle Center in Waukesha, Minnesota. We really do appreciate you tuning in, and thank you once again so much for those very generous donations you've been giving us to help continue these programs on a daily basis. So thank you so much for that. We're in the back room here at the National Eagle Center, and today I'd like to introduce you to Jarod Lueck, who is our Avian Care Assistant Manager. He's also our Intern Coordinator. He is one of the people that is here every single day caring for our eagles. Our eagles have to be cared for, and one of these days we're going to be open again and you'll be able to come back and visit our eagles and also our staff. But until that time, I'd like to introduce you a little bit more into Jarod's background. And so let's go meet Jarod, our Avian Care Assistant Manager. Jarod, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Scott, for that fantastic introduction. As he stated, my name is Jarod, and I am the Avian Care Assistant Manager and the Internship Coordinator for the National Eagle Center. It is my job here at the National Eagle Center to provide the daily care of our ambassadors, ensuring that they're healthy, that they have a high quality of life, and that they're just getting on with their daily lives in human care. It's a great honor to be able to care for these ambassadors and to be able to share their stories with our guests. But that's my avian care side. My other side is the internship coordinator. It's my job to go out to universities and colleges and make sure that I can acquire quality interns for our summer program. We offer a 12-week internship here where our interns go from knowing very little about eagles to being able to stand shoulder to shoulder with some of the biggest names in the field and to be able to get high quality jobs if they choose to pursue this course as a career. So that is my job here at the National Eagle Center. I acquire interns and I help care for our daily ambassadors.
Very nice. Where are you originally from, Jarod?
Where am I from? I am from the mighty metropolis of Rhinelander, Wisconsin. That's right, I'm from across the river. Rhinelander, Wisconsin is in the north, almost central part of Wisconsin. It's kind of the gateway to the Northwoods, if you will. And if you think that name Rhinelander sounds familiar, you might be thinking of the mighty hodag, the giant green lumberjack eating monster that ravages the woods of northern Wisconsin. That is the hodag. If you go to Rhinelander, you can't miss it. The hodags are everywhere. They're pretty cool. They're a mysterious creature that stands shoulder to shoulder with Bigfoot. Just Rhinelander has its own Bigfoot, the hodag.
Cool, so you left Rhinelander, not because of the hodag, but you left after high school, and where did you go after that?
After I got out of high school, I went to the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. At that fantastic university, go Pointers, I'm not ashamed to say that, I pursued a biology degree with a captive wildlife minor. The biology degree got me the experience I needed to learn about these ambassadors. The captive wildlife minor got me expertly prepared to be able to care for ambassadors in human care. But a fancy degree is all well and good. Where I really got my hands-on experience was through the Wildlife Society at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. There, I was able to work with a facility to be able to ban saw-whet owls, Wisconsin's quarter pounder, if you will. They're only a quarter pound in weight. They're adorable little owls. And I also got to work with Gene Jacobs. He's a master bird bander, and I got to work with his education bird, a great horned owl named Sassy. She earned that name greatly. Sassy very much liked to be the boss, and she was a permanently injured raptor as well, just like our ambassadors here. And her goal was to help educate people about owls, about the nighttime raptors. And Sassy was a fantastic ambassador, and that's where I got my real start into working with education birds. I hate to say it, I'm not very good at math and doing field research. I love it, but I can't compute the data at the end. But being able to talk to people about raptors and about education birds is where I really found my niche in this career field.
Well, Angel, I think, is and Columbia now both recognizing you for your excellent ability to be able to interact with our birds, but also with our guests as well. So thank you so much for Jarod. We really do appreciate you as an educator. You have figured out that that little part of the math part wasn't for you, but you figured out the right spot, and so that's great. You found a very good niche here at the National Eagle Center. Tell me a little bit more about the saw-whet owls. You were banding them. What's that mean?
So when I refer to banding saw-whet owls is in the fall, around October, saw-whet owls are migrating from northern Wisconsin, northern Canada to their wintering grounds in the southern part of Wisconsin and even southern United States. Well, as those birds are migrating, you can actually call them in to an area where there's mist nets, very fine mesh nets that the owls can fly into. They're gracefully hold in a very nice little pocket. It's very safe for them. They're taken out of the net. They have a little leg band, a little piece of aluminum put on their leg, a little piece of metal that has an identification number on them, and then we're able to track those birds as they migrate. In fact, there's bird bands going from eagles, which are massive, all the way down to teeny tiny hummingbird leg bands. We have put leg bands on just about every bird you can think of, and then we can track them and we know that individual. Well, I got to help in October putting leg bands on solid owls, and it happens at night, pretty much 8 p.m. through morning. You're out there all night, checking the nets as frequently as possible to make sure the owls are safe and that they're in human time as little as possible. You put a leg band on them, you get measurements, and then you release them again. They're in human contact as little as possible, and it's all for research. So I was able to work with the research, but once I got to work with Sassy, the great horned owl, I really got to get my feet off the ground when I worked with these ambassadors.
Yeah, so working with a saw-whet owl, then a great horned owl, those are both, well, the great horned owl is a pretty big bird, but now you're working with eagles. My goodness sakes, what a jump in size and strength. How did that happen? Where was the connection there?
That's right. You don't just go from saw-whet owls to a great horned owl to a bald eagle. That jump just doesn't happen. The middle ground was my experience at World Bird Sanctuary in Missouri. That's a facility just like the National Eagle Center where they care for ambassadors. The difference is the National Eagle Center has 5 ambassadors. World Bird Sanctuary has over 200, ranging everywhere from adorable screech owls to giant Andean condor. Those birds are amazing, and I fell in love with eagles there during my internship at World Bird Sanctuary. The reason I fell in love with them is as an intern, it was my job to work with the birds, to be able to care for them on a daily basis, learn how to care for them, and one evening, in fact it was the weekend of July 4th, I was moving one of the bald eagle ambassadors, Liberty. He's an amazing little ambassador from Florida, from his daytime perch to his evening perch. And as I was moving Liberty from those perch locations, I got stopped by a group of four gentlemen who happened to be on leave, military leave. They were active servicemen, and they were just visiting World Bird Sanctuary as a little bit of leave time to be able to enjoy their weekend. Well, they saw me working with this bald eagle, and they just had to stop, and they chatted with me for over an hour. I was chatting with these gentlemen, just talking to them about their active duty, what they were doing, and just what the bald eagle meant to them as servicemen. And I fell in love with them. Raptors of all sorts really connect with people, but eagles connect with everyone across the globe. And if you are from the United States, you just inherently love bald eagles. It's just part of what being in the United States is all about, and being able to honor the work those servicemen were doing by just giving them my time really helped me fall in love with bald eagles. Now, as you can tell, they're very loud. Can be obnoxious at sometimes. Columbia's disregarding that. She's not very happy I call her that, but these ambassadors are loud and they connect with people all over the world. And it's really why I fell in love with the National Eagle Center. We see over 70,000 guests a year, and it's just an honor to be able to interact with those guests on a daily basis. And even if we're not open like we are now, I get to interact with guests around the world through Facebook Live videos like this.
Yeah, that really is cool. Thank you for sharing, Jarod. I'm sure that was an amazing opportunity to speak with those gentlemen down there in St. Louis. That was great.
It really was.
Thanks for sharing. So working with the birds, you mentioned the birds can be challenging at times to work with, but as you're doing that, what is maybe one of the most challenging aspects of the job on a day-to-day basis working with the birds?
That's a very tough question. In my opinion, the most challenging part of this job is recognizing that these ambassadors can have good and bad days just like every other person. These birds have, it's awful to say distinct personalities, but they have up and down days. Some days Angel has been just a wonderful bird to work with. She's very easy, she knows her role, she remembers her training, she's an expert ambassador. And other days, she doesn't want you to look at her, let alone walk up to her, let alone give her food. She wants nothing to do with you. And sometimes those days can stretch on weeks and you're just sitting there waiting and biding your time and really working with these ambassadors. They are equal members of our education team, and we have to recognize them as equal members. We cannot make these birds do anything. We want them to be active participants. And just like humans, we have bad days as well. We have to work with our ambassadors on their good and bad days. It's our job as their caretakers to ensure we respect their daily decisions. We need to give them choice. That's the most difficult part to working with these ambassadors.
Cool, thank you for sharing. What is the most, I'm guessing here now, I'm going to guess that I know what it is, but I'd like to hear it from you. What is your most favorite memory happening here at the National Eagle Center?
Ah, yes, that is a very tough question. And let me tell you, Scott, my favorite experience and memory here at the National Eagle Center happened last March in 2019. It was our Soar Festival. Our Soar Festival takes place in March, and we just happened to have it lined up on the third weekend of March, March 16th. We had World Bird Sanctuary coming up to help us with programs, and they brought 3 of their education team, who are myself and another one of our coworkers, Tiana Morris's best friends. Well, I do have to have full disclosure. Tiana Morris and I are a couple. We were dating at the time, and we had been dating for 3 years, and I decided, you know what, it's time. This woman is the woman of my dreams, and it's time to make a big impact. So what I did is I worked with the education team. I had them help me coordinate this whole thing to be able to accrue a tiny little rock, if you will. You know where I'm going with this. I had to get an engagement ring. And the thing is, Tiana and I live together. I can't just go and get an engagement ring without her knowing. So I had Tiffany, our Avian care manager, go and procure the ring. I purchased it myself, but she went and picked it up. We hid it in my work desk. And then every day at 9:40, we have a circle meeting with all the staff, volunteers, everyone around, so we all know what's going on. I had the ring in my back pocket. I had Scott, our amazing education director, make a little bit of a speech, and he somehow, some way, got myself and Tiana in the middle of the circle, and I was able to pop the question with the assistance of the education team. It was an amazing moment in my life. I am very pleased to say Tiana said yes, we are happily engaged. We were planning to be married, but life events have kind of changed that up a little bit. We are still happily engaged, working together. And you know what? Tiana really has found a role just as impactful at the National Eagle Center as mine is. She's our visitor service lead, and it was under her guidance that our gift shop and all of our visitor service staff have jumped up to a notch that we can call ourselves a world quality facility. The moment you walk in the door, if Tiana's at the front desk, she's greeting you. She's making you feel welcome to this facility, so then you're all grinning ear to ear when you come meet our superstar ambassadors. So it is a little embarrassing, but I am happy to say Tiana and I are still engaged. We're still planning our wedding. We're working on it. And the funniest thing is, Tiana is originally from Ohio. I'm from Wisconsin. We met down in Missouri at World Bird Sanctuary, and we got engaged in Minnesota at the National Eagle Center. So our story is pretty incredible. Just like our ambassadors, we come from around the central United States, and well, our stories are still being written as we go.
You are so right. Eagles bring everybody together, and you two are a classic example of that. I figured that was going to be your most favorite time here at the Eagle Center. It definitely was one of the highlights and an honor for me to be able to be a part of that. So thank you, Jarod, and I know the rest of the education team and our NEC family was happy to be a part of that. Jarod, I want to thank you so much for all that you do here and taking the time to take a few minutes out of your busy day helping the Eagles to relate to our guests. And so thank you for that. And I would like to thank everybody else for tuning in here today at the National Eagle Center's Adventures in Eagles Territory.